Hello, Roomies. It's Maria.
Hello. And this is Lindsay.
Yes. And today we are reviewing Everything Everywhere All at Once. And we chose this particular movie because people are on strike, right? The writers are on strike, the actors are on strike, the directors are on strike. And so we want to be supportive of what they're doing
Yes.
because, yeah, because, yeah. So the
Right.
only
We say it.
yeah. And the guidelines that I've read about, what critics can do as far as like online and streaming content are honestly kind of muddy. So we decided to play it safe. So A24 has been the only studio so far to agree to all the demands. So we'll be reviewing some A24 films. And I chose this one because I've seen it. Lindsay hasn't. I really love this movie. So I thought it would be a good place to start. Also, it's not spooky, scary, creepy, like or bloody or anything like that. So I
Yeah.
thought that
And
it would
then
be a better
also,
fit.
yeah, yeah. And then also I want to also add that not only A24 movies we're gonna be reviewing during this weird time for us, but also like independent films um that are not affected by the strike. So we'll be exploring those as well.
Yeah,
Just giving more highlight to those yeah, to those independent artists as well. So yeah, but during the strike we do stand with the strikers. So
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Yep. So I chose
So
again Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was a winner of Best Film of the Year for the Oscars.
mhm, yeah,
What is that
and
face?
best
What is that
support.
face?
We'll get into it, but they also got best supporting actress for Jamie Lee
Hmm.
Curtis,
Hmm.
which was a bit controversial.
It was,
So
yes,
yeah,
yeah. Personally, she wasn't my pick. You know, for
you know,
me, because Stephanie
just
Sue was also in the category.
okay. So who's Stephanie Sue?
She plays Jojo Tubaki. She plays the daughter.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. So they were both
Yeah,
nominated.
I do remember them saying that there was another person out the
Hmm.
movie. Now this is like you said before, this is my first time seeing the movie, but I do remember the controversy about Jamie Lee Curtis mainly because she beat Angela Bassett from yeah, from Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Hmm.
And we did discuss this on my other podcast, the Issue Talk, and I did I didn't necessarily say like, oh my God, Angela Bassett should have received it, blah 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 blah.
Hmm.
My whole thing was that I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know what she did in the movie. I just heard that she wasn't in that much of the movie, and then I also
Hmm.
heard that she oh no, I heard that she wasn't in the movie a lot, but then also I was saying that Jamie Lee Curtis is a great actress.
Hmm.
So I couldn't just 100% be like, "Oh my God, Angela Bassett should have gotten it,"
Yeah.
because I know what great of an actress Jamie Lee Curtis is. But now I have seen it, so yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, her performance compared to Angela Bassett and Stephanie Sue in the same movie.
right. That would have been a better fight.
Yeah.
That would have been a better fight. So, um, not for me, not surprising. The Oscars got it wrong.
Stop.
Yeah,
What?
if we're talking about the performance, this single performance, they got it wrong.
Yeah, I would agree. And
Yeah.
then also, Jamie Lee has been out here talking about the strike and how she doesn't like it, and some other things. So it's like,
Yeah,
ooh,
yeah.
okay.
But on a positive note, Jamie Lee Curtis was in a promo for Offset's new album. And it was
What?
super cute. It was
Oh my
super cute.
goodness.
Okay, so you remember that that video that went viral probably like 20, 30 years later of James Brown in an interview with this lady, and it was like via satellite, and James Brown was on something else, and she was trying to ask him like abuse um allegation questions, and
Oh,
he was just like, oh, let's just talk about the music. Like, and he started like singing, and he was just like, I look good, I feel good, I smell good. Like,
oh my goodness.
well, Jamie Lee Curtis and Offset did a parody for promo for his new album. I thought that was,
Oh,
yeah,
that's so random.
yeah, yeah. So like Offset was James Brown, of course, and Jamie Lee Curtis was the interviewer. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
it's super cute. But
But
yeah,
yeah, also, that's funny. I have to look that up.
yeah,
I kind of think I like scrolled past that and I was like, "What's going on?" Like, yeah,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
Especially like if you look at the original footage,
yeah.
they got it.
They
They
did.
got it.
Oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
cool. Yeah, I'd like to see those together. To see how they look
Mm-hmm.
together. But
Yeah.
Everything Everywhere All at Once was an independent film, written and directed by Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. I think that's how you say it.
Mm-hmm.
They call themselves the Daniels
Okay.
because why not? They're both
Right.
named Daniel, right?
Right.
Yeah. There's my partner Daniel. There's the other partner Daniel. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Uh, but I love this film a lot. It incorporates lots of different genres, um, and also has the whole multiverse thing going for it,
Mm-hmm.
which is something I just enjoy thinking about and have for a while. Like, so I like seeing like movies that deal with multiverse and stuff like that. Except for that one with Marvel that did not.
Which one?
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch? I haven't seen that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch, and then oh gosh, I can't remember the other dude's name. Uh, Benedict Cumberbatch plays him. He's the oh gosh, what the of course I can't
Um,
remember his name.
Doctor Strange? Is that his
Yes,
name?
Doctor Strange. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Doctor Strange at
I
all.
fell asleep
So
to that movie.
the thing about that movie is the guy who directed it very well known for all of his horror films, stuff like that. Has a very particular visual language style he likes to use, which is can be great. But he also did not watch the show,
Mm,
WandaVision,
mhm.
which is important because the kind of character arc she has in WandaVision is literally the same one they gave her in the movie. It's like, but we already did that. But anyway,
Why did they allow that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really don't know.
People
Um,
are, yeah.
yeah, but people call it EEAO because it's a long title. But that reminds me so much of like olive oil. But it goes, like absurdist fiction. You got comedy and drama. You've got science fiction. You've got fantasy. You've got like a familial drama going on. Got a little bit of comedy in there. So they're doing a lot, and
Oh, a whole lot.
a whole lot.
Yeah, it
And
was a whole lot.
did you know anything about the movie before you started watching?
No, no, and it had dawned on me once I realized that was Jamie Lee Curtis that this is the movie. This is the movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like right when I text you, like, is this movie? That's when it dawned on me.
Yeah, because I was like, we thought.
Yeah,
Like, is
it's
this
like,
the right
wait
one?
a minute,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because they do have her, very made up and everything with like,
Hmm.
makeup and wigs and whatever. She looks very different, and they've also got her padded to, give her a tummy and whatever.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
it reminded me of Mariah Carey in Precious
oh, with
because
her little mustache.
it took a minute for you to realize that that was Mariah Carey.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's why it reminded me of that.
I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When you do some really good, like, kind of movie magic makeup
Hmm.
stuff, yeah, makes
Right,
somebody look
right.
completely
The
different. Yeah.
opposite direction,
Hmm.
not to make them look great, but to make them look less than great.
Right. At least, a little normal, I guess.
Yeah.
So, it's got a really great cast. You got Michelle Yeoh, who's just like legendary. I've always a fan of hers. You've got Stephanie Sue, K Hun Kwan, Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, Jenny Slate, Harry Sheen Jr., and James Hong. Um, which a few of those are like the supporting roles, and it's like not even a big cast, but it's a really good cast, lots of quality
Hmm.
actors, right?
Yeah.
And for
Um, and I'm sorry, James Hung, is that the dad, right?
yeah, that's the grandpa, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I knew him right off the bat because I'm a big Seinfeld fan, and he's from
Oh,
the
really?
restaurant episode. Yes, I love Seinfeld. Love Seinfeld, but he's from the restaurant episode. So every time he was on screen, I was like Seinfeld 4, Seinfeld 4.
I never watched Seinfeld, so
You never
I'm
watched?
sorry. I don't know. I only saw the last episode, and the things that I did see from Seinfeld just didn't make any sense to me. So it's just like,
Yeah, I didn't get into Seinfeld until after it was off the air.
mm.
So it was a battle between Martin and Seinfeld. Martin always wins. So, but yeah, but I love Seinfeld. So the episode, just real quick, the episode with him was that he was the host at a restaurant, and they were trying to get into this Chinese restaurant to eat before they went to a movie,
Mm.
and it was like a Friday night, super packed, and they kept trying to ask him, um, kept trying to ask him like, when is their name gonna come up, and he kept on telling them like 3-4 minutes, and the whole episode is them in the waiting area to get seated. So once they realized that it wasn't gonna happen, like Elaine was super hungry. She was just like, I'm going to Skyburger, I'm done. So once they finally left, that's when he was like, Seinfeld 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good episode though. But I love Seinfeld, so yeah.
Yeah. Now the thing for Quan in particular, who plays the father, plays Michelle Yeoh's husband. Um,
Yeah.
this was his first movie role since being in Indiana Jones: Temple of Doom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
He did a great job.
yeah.
I guess
But
it's just like riding a bike.
he, well, no, he'd been trying, to stay in acting and things like that, but he
Hmm.
couldn't find any quality roles that like weren't stereotypes or just
Hmm.
jokes or bit parts.
Yeah.
And to one point, I think he was almost homeless, like trying to act. You know,
Right. Right.
so I'm hoping since this and like also we had the was it Crazy Rich Asians a few years ago. Oh, we'll see some more representation in film. Like Joyride just came out not too long ago.
Hmm.
It's streaming now. I really want to see it. It looks like
Yeah.
so much fun. Stephanie Sue is in that one too.
Okay.
Yeah, she's really talented too. She's been on Broadway. She was in the SpongeBob musical.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You can tell she's really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie had actually been in the works since like 2010. You know,
Mm.
so they've been working on it a long time, which I can imagine, like, especially when you're doing so many different genres and then you have the multiverse thing going on too. You have to like line things up so they make sense, at least a little bit of
Hmm.
sense, right? Now, this is not like a super serious into the science of it movie, so don't even like
Yeah. Yeah.
quantum physics, timey wimey, whatever. Just go with it, right?
Yeah.
So Michelle, yeah, I'm calling people by their real names. I'm sorry. So Michelle Yeoh and her husband, they run a laundromat, and they're under audit with the IRS, and Jamie Lee Curtis plays the auditor. They're trying to get all their receipts and papers together for this appointment they have with her, while also trying to run the laundromat. Michelle's father has just come to live with them due to some kind of medical condition they don't really say.
Hmm.
Um, so they're also trying to, make food for everybody, and like her husband is trying to talk to her, but she's like so consumed with everything else, she's not really listening. And while he's trying to talk to her, he sees her like just like not really there, not present. And in his hands, he has papers for divorce, but she doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she's, trying to run the laundromat, her daughter's trying to talk to her because her daughter is like, I want to bring my girlfriend over for dinner and introduce her to grandpa. And she's like, oh, he just won't understand, it'll just upset him and we don't want to do that, you know. And her daughter's like, what, like, you gotta let, she's just very frustrated with her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And even when she's trying to talk to her mom starts talking to somebody else about, something else, you know, a customer who's like, oh, this is like, there's so much going on. It's very like hectic.
Right. And not
You
to
know,
mention it's Chinese New Year and they're trying to prepare for a party.
right. They're trying to throw a Chinese New Year party for everybody in the community, for their customers and stuff, which I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So, I would go. Shoot. Uh, so they finally get what they're looking for together, and they head down to the IRS, and they're running trying to make it for their meeting and everything. And her husband sees this older Chinese couple like kissing each other on the cheek before they go their separate ways or whatever. And you can see like he's really wanting that, and he feels like he doesn't have that or wouldn't have that with her. And while they're in the elevator to see Deirdre, right, that's her name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um the, her husband just kind of like blinks out, and it's new personality, and he's telling her, listen, I don't have much time. Here are these devices. He puts them on her. You can either go left or go right, and one way will lead you down this way, one way, and something else is going to happen. It's up to you. He's like, you can't even talk to anybody about this, because I won't remember after telling you all of this or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
he activates the devices, and she sees like her whole life flashing before her eyes, basically, like all of her decisions that led her specifically to this point. Um,
Right.
and then he blinks out and he's back to normal. And she's trying to have this meeting with them, but she's also experiencing like this other pocket universe with her husband from a different universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's trying to explain to her what's going on and is asking her to make these decisions and stuff, and she's having a hard time concentrating between both of these things happening. And so it kind of messes up her meeting because the auditor is like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
Because at one point she's laughing, and then at another point she gets up and screams, and it's like, what is happening? And
Mm-hmm.
her husband's trying to handle things, right? He's a very sweet, nice guy, and she feels like, I guess, he doesn't, I don't know, take things seriously enough. She's like, I don't know how he would survive without me or whatever. Um, but he's really good with people. And like he had brought cookies for her and everything. And he asked her, like, listen, can we just have some more time? Reapply, get our things together in order or whatever, because their daughter is supposed to be there to help translate. And she's not there and all this stuff, right? So
Mm-hmm.
she actually ends up giving her the extra time to do it. She's like, okay, you have until the end of the day. Bring me your stuff. But at this time, uh, Michelle is also like talking to her other husband in this other pocket universe, and
Mm-hmm.
he's telling her like, what's going on, how Jobu Tupaki is coming through all these universes and killing people. And they're looking for her specifically because she gets murdered every time in all these different universes, and so they're trying to stop this from happening. And they're in this like pocket universe themselves, right? And they're discovered by the followers of Jobu, and they're both killed, right?
Yeah. Right.
So that's the moment where she gets up and screams when she gets hit with like this pipe in the pocket universe. And he's like telling her,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, when the moment to fight comes, you will know, you have to make a decision on what you're going to do. And so they're about to leave to try and get their papers together and come back later when Deidre gets up, and she has this look on her face that's like really menacing, and she's like marching towards them, it seems like, with a purpose. And really she was just like leaving. Like, I guess, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why her face looked like that though, because it was
Right.
very, I would think she was coming for me too.
Right. 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 Because it really did look like that, and then for it to be like she's actually helping them because they was about to leave their cart.
Hmm.
it was like, why are you looking like that? Are you mad because you had to get up? Like I didn't.
Who
No.
knows? But yeah, they had brought that cart with them. She was trying to
Mhm.
return it. And because the way she looks coming towards them, Michelle punches her in the face. And
Right.
she's like, "Oh, this must be the time to fight." And it's not. And
Mhm.
he's like, "You hit a federal alien." I'm like, "Yeah, that's very serious. Federal crimes are very serious. Crimes
Yeah.
committed on federal property, they are not the same. Like I promise."
Right. Right. And she did both.
Hmm. And they call security, of course, and security comes up there, and then her husband is like he's somebody else again, right?
Hmm.
And he takes out his chapstick, and the security guards are like, "Sir, what are you doing?" Right? He
Right.
bites the
That was gross.
chapstick, he starts chewing and eating it, like, ugh, it's gross.
Gross.
And the security guards too are just like, ew. But they're just kind of like frozen because they're like, what is even happening right now? You
Right.
know? Um, and so he actually starts fighting them with his fanny pack, takes off the
Mm.
fanny pack, and they just have like a really cool action scene where he's just beating them with this fanny pack. It's just like it's so funny. He like puts rocks in it and everything and is able to get them and like just I mean it's great. It's great. I love it.
Yeah. Now
Very
I
like
don't know if it's because I was a couple weeks ago watching old Jackie Chan movies,
mhm.
or he really does. But I thought that he really, when he every time he fought, he really looked like Jackie Chan to me. I was just like, I know I'm not tripping because when he's normal, he looks like himself. But when he was fighting, he looked like a young Jackie Chan.
That's
And
just
I was,
him.
yeah, I had to go look up the cast because I'm like, is this Jackie Chan?
No, 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 no.
Yeah,
Although Michelle has worked with Jackie Chan before.
yeah,
Hmm.
okay,
So, and like, I'm sure a lot of the styles they were using would have been some of the ones that Jackie has used. So it's
probably,
very, because
yeah.
we're doing a lot of kung fu and like some wire work and stuff like that too,
Hmm.
um, which is really cool. You get really good, diverse action scenes. Um, that they're a lot better because honestly, a lot of times American action scenes you can just kind of like, like it's not really like okay, they're fighting.
Right, it's not a big of a deal. Yeah,
A lot of times,
doesn't
sometimes
take
the
that much.
editing's not great. You don't know where people are or how they
Right.
got to where they got, stuff like that. But these are really well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they fight and everything, and honestly, it's a lot of movie. It's 2 hours and like 20 minutes, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go over all of the scenes. So, we don't have time to do all that. I really suggest, if you haven't seen it, to see it. You because where did you find it, Lindsay?
I watched it on Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's on Showtime. So if you got the
Mhm.
Showtime app, it is there.
Yeah, I bought it from YouTube because I just really love it.
Yeah.
Um, so let's see. I'm looking over the plot here because we're just gonna speed through this.
Yeah.
Right. So the guy who's they talk about Wayman, who's her husband. He tells her, I'm Alpha Wayman. I'm from another universe. I'm verse jumping to. What happens is like all the different decisions that you've made in your life lead to different universes, and
Mhm.
where you have different outcomes. And so if you do something unusual like chewing chapstick, eating chapstick, you can, I know it's gross, right? You can verse jump to a different you and get those sort of skills for however long, right?
Oh, okay. Like a video game.
Well, yeah, like I guess so. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I just haven't played a video game like that, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah.
mean, it sounds video game esque.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see that happening for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, so that's what they're doing when they're verse jumping, and they have to do something weird and unexpected to try and clear the avenue to get to that other them, so they can grab those skills for a while, bring those skills forward.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, because I still didn't get that. I thought he was just like throwing them off.
No, yeah, they have like eventually there's another fight scene where they're struggling to get like these. these butt plug shaped awards literally up their rectum because that was the thing they would need to do to verse jump to get to the skill they're trying to get.
Okay. Okay. I was wondering about that too because like when she pointed out her awards, I was like they look like butt plugs. Like
Hmm.
this is not on purpose.
It was.
Yeah. So I was just like this is not on purpose. But and then when I saw them like really trying to force it up their butt, I'm like, okay, this is where this comes in at. But I didn't know why.
That's why.
Okay.
So, yeah, because when they're trying to fight, there's one point where Alpha One is trying to verse jump to someone who has gymnastic skills because Deidre is like using brute force, like she had verse jumped to a wrestler skill, right?
Hmm.
And they tell him, okay, so what you can do to get to that point to the gymnast is you have to make paper cuts between each of your fingers.
Mm,
Right. And then
yeah.
yeah, when Michelle's character has hers going and she's trying to verse jump, they tell her, okay, what you'll need to do is tell Deidre that you love her and you have to mean it.
Hmm.
And she's like, I don't know if I can do that. And
Right.
they're like, okay, well, your other options are break your own arm or fall asleep. So you have to do something strange and unexpected to be able to get to those things.
Right, right. Yeah, and she chose I love you.
Yeah. It's better than, I mean, you can't fall asleep while someone's trying to kill you.
Right, right, right.
You know,
Yep,
and
you're
like
not
break your
trying.
own arm? No thanks.
Mm-mm. Nope.
So let me try and tell this woman I love her and make her believe me because this is the
Right,
only way.
right.
And it's really great because it uses a lot of her because she's also a martial artist. Like, legendary martial artist has been in lots of movies doing
Yeah,
this. So it lets her
you
use
can
those
definitely
skills as well. Yeah.
tell.
And
Excuse
they really wanted her for it for this movie. Um so they'll be, their parallel selves, they do this jumping whatever to get those skills. And he tells her that the multiverse is being threatened by Jobu Tapaki, whose mind was splintered after Alpha Evelyn like pushed her ex- to verse jump like too much, and so now she experiences all of the universes all at once and can
me.
jump through any of them at any time. She doesn't even need the device. And they're like, oh, it broke her brain, whatever. And she goes through all these universes searching for Evelyn, and she's been killing them all.
Mm,
Um, and she she was they do this thing where Jobu Tupaki is looking for Evelyn, and she flips through universes like a remote, and you hear this like remote control kind of sound when she's flipping through these universes,
mhm,
or maybe like a kind of a dial on a very old television kind of sound, and she's like, no, not this one, this one, this one, which I was
mhm.
like, oh, that's such a great way to show that, right? So it's like, how do you show somebody traveling through multiverses like that and, not have to do a whole bunch of special effects at the same time? So I think that was a really cool way to do it.
Yeah.
But she finds them pretty easily. And there's a fight scene with her and security and some policemen, which is great. It's just really, I love it so much. Like, she comes in, she can change her appearance at will, she can change anything. She's basically a god. Like, she can
Yeah.
change anything to anything else. So, she comes in looking like Elvis with a little pig and everything. And then, like, one of the policemen shoots her, and Evelyn, of course, is like, terrified because that's her daughter to her,
Right.
um, and Jobu's fake crying, and she's like, "Oh no, it's actually just ketchup," because she just turned it into ketchup. Like,
Mhm.
some of the folks get shot or hit, or like there's supposed to be blood, instead it's confetti, or stuff like that. I just loved it. I just loved it.
Yeah.
Um, and she's explaining to her that she's been through all these universes, she's seen everything, and she has come to this realization that nothing matters. You know, um, she like, what's the point? Like, nothing matters. It's just all the same. and she created this everything bagel. She's like, I took all of my hopes and my fears, I took everything I experienced, and I put it on a bagel. And it's basically like a black hole. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was like a black hole where there would just be nothingness on the other side. And she wants her to join her, basically. You know, and so it's Evelyn basically talking to her daughter, you know, different versions of her daughter, about how she feels about the world and how hopeless she feels, and talking about their relationship and things like that. And it's great. I love it. Like there's one world where they're just rocks,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and so you just have
Yeah.
nothing but you have text on the screen, and
Right.
it's great. It's really good.
I like that scene. It
Yeah.
seemed like in that scene, that's when the mom actually understood the daughter
Hmm. Yeah.
and understood what she was saying, and she got it for
Hmm.
once, you know.
Hmm. And
And
I remember like in the movie theater, I was just like, for the last like third of the movie, I guess, I
mm-hmm.
was just crying. Like I was just
Right.
crying because like her Jobu's depression was just
Mm-hmm.
like exactly the way I feel. Like, I was like, that is no, but like that's exactly how I feel sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's just like it was completely unexpected. I just started crying, like out of like, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow. And then later on, you know, when um Evelyn is like really listening to Wayman and like his philosophy, because his philosophy is the same. Like nothing matters, so why not just do something fun,
Right.
right?
Or being nice.
Because be nice to people, be kind to
Yeah.
people. Why not? You know,
Mm-hmm.
it feels better than feeling hopeless if you're kind to people, right?
Yeah.
So throughout the whole movie, like Wayman does stuff like putting these little jiggly eyes on things,
Mm-hmm.
little wobbly eyes, and it's cute and it's fun and it's whimsical and it doesn't mean anything,
No.
but it makes somebody smile. It's just being kind, you know.
Right. Right. And
So
Evelyn can't stand it. She can't.
right, she doesn't understand the purpose. She think for her it's like there's no purpose to it. So why are we doing this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
When the purpose is just to bring joy, spread happiness.
Right.
Yeah. Um, and you know, particularly in a capitalist society, since you can't really market that, you can't really sell that.
Mm-hmm.
People a lot of times will think it lacks value. Like, why would you do something like that? You know,
Right.
um, because it's kind and nice and it feels nice. Like that's all that
Right.
you know. It doesn't have to be more than that.
Right. It's just something silly just to remind you not to take yourself seriously.
Hmm.
You know?
You know, so she learns that lesson from him, and she, you know, uses that with her daughter and with herself to pull her daughter back from the edge, like literally pull her from the edge of being consumed by this blackness, this black hole of nothingness that she's been feeling. And one of the ways, another one of the fight scenes they have is like with Wayman, and this is where he gives his speech about just be kind. You know, like the world can be such a cruel place. Why don't you just be kind? Like it doesn't cost you anything. And this is the fight scene where Evelyn, instead of like physically fighting and hurting people, gives them what they desire, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
their deepest desire. So you see like, you know, one is like getting married because that's what they really really want, and then like one of the people she's fighting ends up being the guy from the laundromat who's like, oh, my wife used to wear that perfume, so she gives him that
Mm-hmm.
perfume, you know. um I think it's really great. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and eventually oh, also the fashion for Jobu Tupaki is incredible. Like because they get to do so many like absurdist and surrealist things, she gets to have like the craziest outfits, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But they make them all look really good. Like at one point she's dressed like a, a Chinese grandmother who's going golfing. You're right. We
Mm-hmm.
already talked about the Elvis outfit. There's another one she's like dressed like a wrestler. Like a Mexican wrestler actually.
Hmm.
and there's another one where she's dressed up in like her coat is like all teddy bears.
Hmm.
It's wild.
And one like Harajuku guard.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's this other like when she's showing her mother, the everything bagel. She's got like pearls on her face and stuff, and like hairdo is structural with the bow and everything. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Uh, so, during that fight scene in particular, Jobu's like had enough of it, and she's like just going into the bagel, like and her mother
Mhm.
sees her, she holds her, and she's desperately trying to pull her back, you know, and it's not enough. And so then Wayman is pulling, and then the grandfather is pulling, like her whole
Mhm.
family is pulling for her, and I was crying again because it's so sweet. It's so kind, and it's so kind, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then towards the end of the film, they talk to each other, and they're really honest about their feelings and how they feel about each other. And her daughter is like, it just hurts a lot when I'm around you, basically because she can't be her full self, and that leaves her feeling like she doesn't have a home, which is a really hard feeling, right?
Right.
So her mother is like, she acknowledges she makes mistakes and she's sorry and she's going to do better. She's like, and the one thing I just really want is to have you around, basically. He's like,
Hmm.
I wouldn't want to. She's like, of all the places I could be, I don't want to be anywhere else but here with you.
Right. Right.
And I'm crying again, you know. And she finally introduces her daughter and her girlfriend to her grandfather. And her grandfather only speaks Cantonese. Um,
Mhm.
and and Joy didn't know the word in Cantonese for girlfriend, but her mother does. So her mother finally introduces them correctly,
Mhm.
and father is fine. Like, you
Right.
know, he didn't die. You know,
Right.
and that's really towards the end of the movie, and it's so good. And there's even like this whole other universe where Evelyn and Deidre are together, right? And it's
Yeah.
the scene where they have hot dogs for fingers,
Yeah.
which is
That.
it's kind of gross to me.
Yeah.
I mean, the hot dogs for fingers is one thing, but then they also like eject ketchup and mustard, which is like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about
That's what made it. That's what made it worse. That's what made it worse. It was like almost unbearable
it
with
was
the hot
almost
dog and my.
it was almost unbearable for you.
Yes, because I was like, because I mean, it's hot dogs, and then y'all doing all of this with the hot dogs, and it was, uh, it was just, you'll never look at a hot dog the same again.
I still eat hot dogs. I just no problem with it. As long as
Mm,
we're not on fingers and we're not ejecting things, I'm good.
yeah, yeah, they did a couple of gross things, and I actually like was eating a salad and a muffin, and I was just like, oh God, another movie
I'm
that I
so
can't.
sorry. I did not mean ruining your meal this way. I'm so sorry.
But yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
body horror for me is one thing that does get to me a little bit, but this was so silly for me.
yeah, yeah. It was silly, but it was just like I mean the hot dogs and fingers is one thing, but then when they added the ketchup and mustard, that's what did it for me. Yeah, that was too much. So,
Oh, there's also Harry Shum Jr. as well. We didn't really talk about him, but he plays this like teppanyaki chef. So it's like when you go to I don't know, what's one, a hibachi restaurant. They're the ones
mhm,
who were like cooking everything on the grill and doing the fires and all that stuff. And like
yeah,
he's working in this restaurant, and so is another Evelyn. And at one point, the Evelyn that we know that we're first introduced to talks about this movie she was watching where this raccoon is like controlling the guy being a chef, and they're like, "Oh, you mean Ratatouille?" And she says, "No, it's Raccacoonie." She swears it was a raccoon.
right, right. I was like,
So
do we know? Like, is it two movies? Like, because the way she was so adamant that she was right had
mhm.
me questioning. Like, is there two movies?
But in this
So,
universe, Harry Shum Jr. is playing the chef, and he has a raccoon who's like directing
mhm,
him and everything. They have songs together about being a family and like all this stuff, and like it's great. It's a little great little like one off storyline that I love so much.
mhm.
I could see like a whole show like where you just have like these one offs going to different universes, much like Quantum Leap,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which by the way is on. They
Yeah, they
revived the
revamped
show.
it.
Yeah, they totally
Mhm,
did. I need to catch up on that. But yeah, towards the end, they get back to the building, the IRS building, and they have all of their documents prepared. Their daughter Joy is there, and it looks like things are going to be going well at that
mhm.
point. Yeah,
Yeah, and all is well.
all is well. It looks like she and her husband are talking again, like they're being affectionate again and everything. So.
Yeah, because she planted one on him at the building, at the IRS
Mhm,
building. I
mhm.
was like, "Oh, there's people around. Get a room."
Yeah.
But
The IRS, who cares?
oh yeah, the stories in the IRS building. But anyway, but
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I used to work for the IRS, so
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
so
Night shift, so.
yeah, same. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I really like this movie. It's very unique. Even though it still has that multiverse theme, which is it's more popular these days. I mean, you got,
Mhm,
Spider Verse, Rick and Morty, other things like, the movie we talked about before with Scarlet Witch. Uh,
um,
so
Doctor Strange.
yeah, I say Scarlet Witch because she was the part I was there for. So
Yeah,
like, she should have had her own movie, honestly.
yeah.
But yeah, so I really enjoyed it. It's got a really great soundtrack. It's very unique in its presentation. The way they use not sci-fi, but special effects is really great. A lot of it is actually practical effects. They didn't do a whole lot of CGI for this movie. There's one
Mhm.
scene in particular where Evelyn is like being dragged through different realities, and they actually did that practically. Like that is not
Mm,
CGI at all.
okay.
Yeah. There's also, it's really they go through many different kinds of universes, like some where they're animated, like their drawings, and some where they're pinatas, and like just all kinds of like uh,
Mm.
very inventive scenes. But yeah, so what did you think of the movie, Lindsay?
Um, the movie irritated me to be honest.
Why is that?
Because it was just too much going on. Initially, like especially like with them painting their reality, it was like I wanted them to clean up. It looked like it was very dusty, very outdated, and I just wanted them to clean
What do you mean?
up.
The
Like it was
laundromat?
very cluttered. Yeah, like the laundromat, their home, it was extremely cluttered, which I
Oh,
get. It makes sense. Like it totally makes sense with the life that they were living, you know. But that really annoyed me. Um,
what about the movie?
and then I know, right? I was fixated on that. Like that took a lot of my mental
Really?
because I just want to clean up. Yes. But the
Don't look at my
movie,
office then.
um, huh?
Don't look at my office then.
Uh, I'm sure it won't be as bad as their home. Because it was just like the bookkeeping was bad. That's probably the reason why they're in the situation of being audited. Like it was just like I just want y'all to get your life together. Not saying that my life is together,
It's like you
but
wanna step them up, like, let's get you onto QuickBooks, let's scan these
yeah,
receipts, like
just like daughter, where are you at in this equation? How come you can't help them out? But
well, you
the
see how
mom
their
probably
relationship
wasn't
is.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So. I mean, I get it, and I mean, and it makes sense. Like their life was just like it was too much going on for her to stop and be like, okay, let me handle this one thing because I got to handle five different things, you know.
Mhm.
And she wasn't handling things well, and that's the reason why the life was going down. Life as she knew it was going down, you know. So it made sense. Um, but that was like my initial thoughts.
Mhm.
Um, then the movie, it took me a minute to catch on to what was going on, cause I'm like cause the first thing that we saw with the dad was when the mom and her daughter were talking, and they were talking in front of the surveillance footage,
Mhm. Mhm.
and the dad was talking to one of the customers, but then he started like jumping through different screens, and I'm like, what is going on here? You know,
Yeah,
so
doing
it
some
wasn't
parkour.
like, yeah. So I was just like, okay, what is going on here? So it took me a minute to realize that they're going through all these multiverses and stuff like that, because I thought that this was all one um one verse, I guess.
Mhm.
So it took me a minute to catch on to that, because I still was fixated like this is real, you know. But then we come back to another universe where it's not, and none of that happened in this universe. So sometimes it can take me a minute to catch on
Mhm.
to multiverses if it's not necessarily spelled out.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah. Um, I did appreciate the rock scene. Like I
Mhm.
said before, I did really appreciate that rock scene, because that's when I feel like they were able to actually talk and hear one another and understand, you know. So
And the thing is, the movie is so like loud and colorful.
hmm
You get to that scene, it's just very quiet,
right.
and it does feel like, oh, this is nice.
hmm Yeah. Yeah. And then I did appreciate the grandfather, like I said, because of Seinfeld. But I did a little Googling on him. He is 94 years old.
Yes.
Yeah. And I thought that was amazing. He just got his star on the Walk of Fame last
Mhm.
year. So, and another actor did a GoFundMe to raise the money to get him the star.
Oh.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. Um, but he's American born. He was born in Minneapolis. So I thought that was pretty cool. Um, and then like he had like the longest running um I think it was a production company. He had the longest running minority production company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So and I mean the goal was to get more diversity in the film. So
Yeah,
yeah. So that man has lived his life.
he has. He has.
Yeah.
94.
Mm-hmm.
He's been active since 1954 in Hollywood,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is all of my father's life plus a year.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So like cause like he was older on Seinfeld, so I was like, he gotta be old. He gotta be like in his 80s or something.
Yeah.
I looked it
He
up.
was,
I said 94.
yeah. He was in
OMG.
Mulan. He was
Mm-hmm.
in Tin Tight. It's storming out here, by the way, if you hear any thunder.
That's the first
Um,
time I heard.
he was Chifu Mulan, and he was in Turning Red too. He played the priest at the end of
Mm-hmm.
Turning Red. I don't know if you've seen that, but that one was really good too.
Mm-mm. No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, like I said, every time I saw him, Seinfeld 4. So yeah. So it was pretty cool. Now listening to you, I can understand why you appreciate it like you do, you
Hmm.
know. But yeah, but my initial thoughts, I was like, this movie is irritating me.
I
Cause
would
it
be
was just
interested what your thoughts would be if you were to watch it again.
yeah.
because this is definitely kind of a movie where you're like, oh, you pick up on things like a second time watching it, like, oh,
Hmm.
there's that, there's, oh, okay, I understand what you mean by, oh, this line is actually important because, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, this might be one of those movies where you have to see more than once. You
Yeah,
know, because like I know, like with Napoleon Dynamite, the first time I saw it, I hated it.
really.
Yeah, and it's like one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I like Napoleon Dynamite a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's see. Oh, I just found this out, but this makes so much sense. So, in earlier drafts of the screenplay, the directors planned for the main character uh, to have undiagnosed ADHD.
Mm.
Because like every time I'm like every because I've seen this movie 4 times now,
Hmm.
um, but every time I've seen it, I'm like I'm looking at Evelyn like I see you and
Yeah.
I see me, and it looks like you have ADHD, girl. Like, yeah, I was
That
like,
could,
that
I
makes
mean,
so
that
much sense.
very well makes sense. Very much
Yeah,
so makes sense.
that
So
makes
that
sense
could
with
very
the way,
well
like,
be.
kind of like how things are messy,
Yeah.
how she feels like she's being pulled in so many directions, how it's hard for
Hmm.
her to concentrate on conversations
Right.
and things like
Right.
that.
It's very
Yes.
scatterbrained.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just
So
the
that totally makes sense.
yeah. Oh man, that's so. Well, they still put that in there as far as I'm concerned because I picked up on that right away.
Yeah. 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 Now with you saying that, it makes sense why stuff was the way it was.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because I mean, she was being pulled in so many different directions, and she couldn't. It was hard for her to focus on one thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she really needed to delegate
Hmm.
more, but she for what because her husband is like kind of more lighthearted on things, she felt like she couldn't trust him to do that, but she totally
Hmm.
can. He can take
Right.
care of things. Like he did a really
Right.
great job with because like throughout the movie, in the universe that we're in, he does an amazing job like talking to the customers, also talking to Deirdre and the IRS.
Yeah.
Like because there's at one point where she's almost arrested and he stops that from happening.
Hmm.
I'm like, what did he say? Like,
Right.
I would
Right.
love to know. But yeah, she just doesn't see his skills, but they're there.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And he doesn't feel appreciated until the
Yeah.
end. You
Yeah.
know. And it's really bad to the point where he was gonna really leave her.
And I don't know if that he necessarily wanted to leave her as much as he wanted her to wake up.
Yeah, but that's a gamble. You know.
It is a gamble. It
So
is.
yeah, he was willing to take that risk.
Yeah.
You know. So
Now, originally, the film was written for Jackie Chan.
see, I can see
Hmm.
it. I know I wasn't
But
tripping.
no,
They gotta look like.
I don't think they look alike at all. To me,
I
honestly,
do.
especially when
We,
you see him in his suit and he's nice and cleaned up and oh, he looks so good. I
he
was
does
like,
look really good in a suit. Yeah.
um, but they thought, if they had the protagonist being a woman, they would be able to do that husband wife dynamic in a more relatable way.
Hmm.
Um, Also, Michelle Yeoh is really great, and Jackie Chan is not really great as a person, but
That's what
like
I understand.
yeah, he's like disowned his lesbian daughter for things, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I hear.
Uh, I'm honestly glad Aquafina did not make it into the film.
She was supposed to be in the film.
Yeah. They had
She
she had
was
been cast a co-star
annoyed
in
my
it.
soul.
Huh?
You said what?
She had been cast a co-star in it, yeah.
So was she
Mhm.
supposed to play the daughter?
Probably.
I'm so glad she did. She would have annoyed my
Yeah.
soul.
Yeah. I've only
Yeah.
seen her in one movie where she wasn't annoying. So. There's a movie
I didn't mind
called
her in
Renfield.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Huh? I did. I did not
I've
like
seen
her in
Renfield.
that movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Renfield's the only movie where I was like, okay.
She wasn't bad in Renfield. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
She wasn't bad in Renfield. And I liked her in Crazy Rich Asians. But that was my first time seeing her was in Crazy Rich Asians. I just
Oh,
her voice is annoying after a while.
that's not how she talks either.
That's what I understand. I understand that
Hmm.
she's doing blackface.
Yes, black scent. Yeah, like her whole thing before she got into film, she was on YouTube, like doing like humorous raps, basically. And it
Mm,
was very much like, yeah, this is the way I talk because I grew up in Queens, da 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 da. And people were like, the part of Queens you're talking about doesn't really have a lot of black people, actually. Hmm. So
yeah,
yeah, but
yeah,
I'm really glad it was Stephanie Sue instead because she's great.
yeah, yeah. She
Um,
did it. She did an amazing job.
and remember we were talking about Quan not working since Temple of Doom. That was back in 1984.
Right,
So from 1984 to now, like
right. That's a
that's
long
crazy.
time.
That's our whole lives, really.
Right. Basically, yeah.
Yeah,
So like, did he go into what he was doing outside of like auditions? Like, what did he do to survive?
I don't know all the details. Um,
Yeah,
I have to read the story. I don't know all the details. I'm not gonna lie. So,
yeah.
but they were actually looking for him, and they were curious to what he had been doing. And yeah, they cast him because they were like, "Well, where is that guy? Where has he been?" And they put him in the movie,
Mm,
which I thought was really great. Um, but yeah, he had was trying to return to acting because of the success of Crazy Rich Asians,
mm. Okay.
which is great. It's great. Like I love how everything came together
Hmm.
for these actors in this production.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and then
Oh,
they got
I'm
all.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
But apparently, Jamie Lee's tummy was real, not a prosthetic.
I kind of figured that. Um, because I don't know if you remember, a really long time ago, she like posed um on the cover of a magazine in her underwear,
Hmm.
and it was like not altered. I
Hmm.
don't think she had no makeup on or anything like that, and it was
Hmm.
like a big deal because it was like her real body.
Hmm.
So, and she had a normal body basically.
Hmm.
So, and she's been unapologetic about her normal body.
That's true.
So I kind of figured that was her real stomach.
But the film was very successful. Let's see here. It was released limited theaters, limited release anyway, March 25th of 2022, and nationwide release was on April. And then they released it to IMAX after that for like one night only. But because it was so popular, they returned it to IMAX like a couple weeks later.
Hmm.
The film was not released in most parts of the Middle East, including Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, due to censorship of LGBT issues.
Mm. Okay.
It was also re released in theaters in July of 2022 with introduction by the Daniels talking and like some outtakes and stuff too, like some special things. And
Okay.
then it was re released again in January on 1,400
After the
screens to celebrate its Oscar nomination. So,
yeah. Mhm.
which is incredible. Like, how many re releases can you get? And it's not
Right.
even a year, you know? Like, the
Right.
budget
Right.
was, they estimate the budget was 14.3 to 25 million. I don't know why it's like that.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like,
It's very weird.
that's a big leap.
Yeah, it was either 14 or almost double. Like, what?
Right.
I don't get it. But the box office was 141 million. So, either way, they
Well,
won.
maybe I don't know. I can. I got
Yeah.
nothing.
I've never seen that before. So,
Yeah. Right. Right. Because the budget was what it was, or maybe they went over budget. Maybe it was
but
initially
then that would
14,
be
but
the
they went over.
budget. It's very, I just never seen like that kind of thing before ever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder why they did it like that.
Hmm. Mm.
Uh, IndieWire called it an orgiastic work of slap happy genius. So,
But yeah.
But I interrupted your thoughts, so please go.
Oh no, no, no. I was just thinking like, why would they have that big of a leap? Because that was a huge leap
Mhm.
in budget. Because I saw that earlier too. Excuse me. But that's the only thing I can think of is that they uh they had to go back and ask for more money, and maybe the 14 was the initial.
What did you think of the use of the multiverse in the film?
Um, Now with the whole ADHD part of it,
Hmm.
um, it was used correctly. Like I can definitely see someone having ADHD being in their mind just being in different multiverses, you know. So it is I can definitely see that being like something that somebody that has that is going through.
Hmm.
So,
What did you think
but
about the fight scenes? Did you have a favorite?
I didn't have a favorite fight scene. No. Thought it was gross when she threw up.
Well, that's always gross.
Yeah. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to watch.
Yeah. But no, I didn't necessarily have a favorite fight scene.
Hmm.
They all were choreographed great.
Yeah, I
Whoever did
think
the choreography.
one of my favorites is the one with the dog. Jenny Slate's character has a little Pomeranian,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay.
and she uses the dog like a nunchuck almost with its leash. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, but I did like when they were in the stairwell and Jamie Lee Curtis, she jumped and she came down slow motion and she like came like right
Yeah.
there. I thought that was cool,
Yeah.
and they
Uh,
did that a couple times. They slowed up the fight,
mhm.
so because like when she was about to hit her with the pipe, they slowed that
Yeah.
up. So yeah.
Um, I also really like the scene where we're in the universe where Evelyn is a kung fu action star, you know,
Hmm.
and she has that conversation with Wayman, and he's like, in another universe, I would have loved to spend my life doing laundry and taxes with you.
Hmm.
So that was a big line that a lot of people remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that universe as well because they looked great, both
he
of them,
did.
you know, and they looked great together.
Hmm.
And you low key wanted them to end up together,
Hmm.
you know, so that would have made all this worthwhile. But yeah, unfortunately they didn't. But
Not in that universe, anyway.
not in that one. Yeah, but I think they worked well together. Like even in like the regular universe, I don't know what the regular universe is called, but even in that universe, it seemed like they worked well together, even though they weren't working together in a way.
Hmm.
Like he was pretty much like her cleanup guy, you know,
Hmm.
and then he literally was her cleanup guy,
Yeah,
So
I think once she was able to open herself and rely on him more and not try to like act like an island, you know.
hmm yeah, yeah. But do you think that she probably held some type of resentment towards him for making the move to America?
No, I don't think so. I don't think she held resentment towards him for that. I think she just didn't understand him, right?
Hmm.
Understand how he could be so, you know, goofy or silly or not seem to take things so seriously as she did. But the difference is she was just staying stressed out all the time, you know.
Hmm.
it wasn't that these things weren't necessarily serious, it's that he would allow room for joy and laughter, because if you don't, you're that stressed out all the time. You know? So
Right,
really,
right.
like, they're very much two sides of the same coin. They just need to learn how to, meld together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, we do have our rating system.
Mhm.
We have one movie reel, trash AF, two it exists, three entertaining, four great, and five a true classic.
Mm.
Maria, what say you?
I say 5.
Five.
Mhm.
Okay.
I've watched like a lot of reviews and like video essays and stuff about
Mm-hmm.
this particular movie, and it's really touched a lot of people. Um, because there's been a lot of more movies about like parent and child relationships, right? Like you have Turning Red, and you have oh gosh, we don't talk about Bruno. You have that one.
Um, I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
Encanto.
Encanto, right?
Yeah.
So you have that trend, which I like a lot. Um,
Mhm.
and it's an all Asian cast, which you don't get a lot. Period.
Right, right.
There's a lot of Cantonese in the movie, which is great. Like
A lot.
because oftentimes you'll have a movie that involves a family that's an immigrant family, and they'll all be together and speaking English to each other, which I was like, that seems strange to me. Why would you why would you do
Like,
that?
it's not realistic.
No.
Like,
So I
I
like
appreciate it, don't get me wrong, but it's not realistic.
here where they speak to each other in Cantonese
Mm-hmm.
when they're at home, or and then you can also see, was it in one scene where, oh, it's when they're at the IRS, and Evelyn discovers these papers are the divorce papers, and she stops speaking in Cantonese and starts talking to her husband in English because she doesn't want
Mm-hmm.
her father to know what she's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I give it a 5. I think it's a classic, honestly. Like I've already said anyway, it's very unique. It's got a really great cast, incredible editing, because the editing had been bad, like the movie would have been all off. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Super imaginative, and I feel like it really, really works to bring out, the messages they're trying to send. Like, one of the things I think about when I'm reviewing a film is, did this movie do what it said in the trailer that it was going to do? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it's really, really delivered. So
Okay. I give it a three. It was
a 3.
entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. It was entertaining. Me going in not knowing what I'm about to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't go off of like a trailer or anything because I didn't see the trailer or nothing like that. So, um, it was. I mean, it catches your eye and your attention once they start doing the whole multiverse stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and they do that pretty early on. So,
Yeah, yeah, I do
um,
appreciate they don't waste time.
yeah, I just feel like it should have been shorter. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. I don't think it should have been that long. Um, but like I could have done without at least one of the fight scenes, but I do understand. Um, a lot of people love and appreciate the fight scenes, so I can understand why it would be that long. Um, but for me, it was just entertaining.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, so we are
It's
in this
storming out here.
weird.
I'm sorry.
Uh, yeah, it's good. Like I only heard it that one time, so.
Okay.
But yeah, we are in this weird space of what to review, what not to review. So I guess next week we're gonna do an independent film.
Yep.
Um, so so there's a lot of independent films that we can tackle during this time. Um, Let me pull up the film because I just watched this film and I'll let you decide.
Okay.
Let me see. What's his name?
Wow. Apparently, Everything Everywhere All at Once has already surpassed Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King as the most awarded film of all time.
Oh, really?
It had 11 Academy Award nominations, 10 BAFTA nominations, 13 Critic Choice, 8 Independent Spirit Awards, ooh, 6 Golden Globes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
we were talking before about Jamie Lee Curtis winning, the Oscar for best supporting role.
Hmm.
Um, but in my opinion, it really should have been between Stephanie Sue and Angela.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It should have been between Stephanie Sue and Angela. There's only one reason why I can think of offhand why she won.
And what do you think?
Because she's white.
Oh, it
Because I
felt a
mean,
lot like a oh, we haven't given it to you before in the past when you really deserved it, so here you go now. Like, and it's just like,
right.
but that's not how that's supposed to
That's
work.
not how it's supposed to work at all. That's not how any of this is supposed to work at all. You're really supposed to go off of what their performance was in the movie that
Hmm.
you nominated them
Yeah.
for. You know,
And it's
because now you know what they're doing with Angela Bassett is they're trying to give her like a lifetime achievement award or some esque
yeah,
award,
yeah,
and it's like I would be like, man, look, thanks but no thanks. Like that would irritate my soul,
same.
you know. So because like y'all can't give it to me for when I deserve it, but y'all gonna give it to me for this. And don't get me wrong, there have been things that Angela Bassett has done that she completely did not deserve it, but there have been things where she completely did deserve it, and Wakanda Forever was one of them.
Yeah,
And what's her name? Stephanie Sue.
yeah.
She most definitely deserved to be her biggest threat.
Hmm.
You know what I
Because
mean?
it's
It
not
should have
even
been
like
okay.
Jamie Lee
You know,
Curtis was bad, but her role just wasn't that much in comparison to Stephanie Sue's role. Like,
it wasn't worth being nominated for
no,
anything, to be
I don't
honest.
think so. Yeah,
Yeah, and she's done stuff where she should have been nominated, but not this,
no.
not this. So now that I've seen them both, absolutely not. You know, so because I definitely was like, I'm not gonna do that to Jamie Lee Curtis. She's an amazing actress, and she is an amazing actress, but no, no, not with what Angela did in Wakanda Forever.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-uh. Not even with what Stephanie Sue did in this movie.
Mm-mm.
Like what? Like that just like
I don't get.
completely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
absolutely
completely makes sense.
anticipated it either being Angela or Stephanie. Like, I did not think Jamie Lee was going to carry that.
Yeah, like I don't think it would have been that big of a debate had Stephanie won. Like it would have definitely
Yeah,
been a debate, but not that big of a debate
right. Because with
because it
that,
just
it's like,
don't
oh,
really
I can see that. Like,
Yeah, like anybody that had actually seen the movie, because I'm sure a lot of people that would have been debating hadn't seen the movie.
hmm,
But um, anybody that would have seen the movie, seen both of the movies, for that matter, would have been like, all right, I get it. Like, may
exactly.
not have liked it, may not have
Right.
been the one that they would have voted for, but they would have been like, all right, I get it.
Hmm.
You know, but no, not Jamie Lee Curtis winning for this role,
No.
and that's the part that sucks. That's the
Yeah.
part that sucks about. about the Oscars because they give it to whoever the hell they want to, and
Yep,
not necessarily to who deserves it.
exactly. Because I don't understand how you see those three performances and that's the choice you make. Like I don't.
Right, right, right.
But
Because
anyway,
it's not like she was nominated for her role as Letta Wallace in Notorious. Like it wasn't that movie, or Meet the
no,
Browns. It wasn't that,
right. I
So
mean, every time I see her, Angela in particular, Angela Bassett in Wakanda Forever, and there's that meeting at the UN or whatever, I get chills like every time. So
yeah,
good. And like that scene with her
yeah,
and
yeah.
oh gosh, what's her name? Um, who's one of the guards? Gosh, I can't remember anything. There you
Okoye.
go. Okoye, yes. That scene between her and Okoye. Are you kidding?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the scene that I was like, she's gonna get it. You know, like you can't
yeah.
not give it to her because that scene. Now the only thing I didn't like about that scene was that they was crying. I wish they didn't cry,
No,
but
I was glad they cried.
well, I get it. I just I like to see women in vulnerable roles not crying because of the whole
How are you going to be
stereotype.
vulnerable and not cry?
Because they do men like that. They have men in vulnerable roles not crying. So I want to
But it's
see
not
women
vulnerable to
vulnerable.
not cry.
I get it. I get it. But you don't have to always cry. And you know, stereotypically when a woman cries, you kind of blow them off.
That's
So
not my fault. I mean, that's not their problem though. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. I get it.
You got to
I
change
just
the stereotypes in your mind to allow people to cry. Not
well,
you,
that,
not
I
you,
mean,
you
yeah, right.
people.
But that's generation. I mean, that's generations down the line that we could probably get to a state where
Yeah.
crying, you know what I'm saying? Because like I cry when I'm mad, so I
Hmm.
get it. You know what I mean? But um, I just I just know how we're thinking in today's time, and
Hmm.
you blow off women when they cry. So
Yeah. For me, I'm like, there is that expectation, that idea,
mhm.
and for me, I'm like, well, let's not cater that idea because it's
Yeah,
irrelevant to me. So, you know, she lost her husband, she's lost her
right,
king, she's lost. I'm talking about Okoye. She lost a princess when she said she wasn't going to, and now she lost her position,
you're right.
and she's been admonished by the remaining royal. Like a tear or two, I think is okay. you know,
No, I totally get it. I totally
yeah.
get it. I just wish
Because
she
I
would have
felt like
just
crying because it was like, "Oh, girl, you in trouble?"
right, right. I just wish she had an inner cry. I just wish she get the inner
An
cry.
inner cry.
Yes. but but yeah, and I remember that argument. That argument was tough because you going up against the queen who lost her husband, lost her son. You know what I'm saying, and don't really have too many family left outside of her daughter. So
And you lost
yeah,
her. Like,
right. And then she's like, "Yeah, you lost your husband, but you can go visit your husband.
mhm,
Where I'm gonna visit my husband? I gotta eat some purple stuff to go visit my
mhm.
husband, and hope
Now,
that he come visit me." So like,
and my son.
right. So yeah, but yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. But what was the movie you were suggesting?
that was just my whole thing. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, we got on a rant about Wakanda Forever,
We did.
but okay, so we have two movies. One of them we talked about last week, and that was Welcome to Killer City,
Killer
or
Town or Killer
no,
City.
Killer City,
Okay.
Killa City. It's on YouTube.
Oh, welcome number 2, Killer
Yes,
City.
right.
Okay.
Totally doesn't make sense, but what if?
It has a
Or
Twitter account, by the way.
it has a Twitter account. All right. Yeah, so we can do that movie, or um, and I will say with that movie, do you remember Making the Band?
Yeah.
The TV show. Okay, so do you remember season two when Diddy took it over and he had the rap group, the band?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So one of the rappers that was in the band is in Welcome to Killer City. Ness.
Oh wow.
He was the one that was out of Philly. So
Okay.
that's probably the only person you would know this in that movie.
Yeah, there's
um,
a. Uh-huh. Oh, what was the other movie?
okay, so the other movie is a movie I just watched on Tubi,
Okay.
and it stars Jason Mitchell, and it's called Everything Is Both.
Everything is both.
Yes. So, and not only does it have Jason Mitchell, but it has I don't know his name, but he was in the first two seasons of The Shy. Do you watch The Shy?
Hmm. I watched the first two
Okay,
seasons. That's Jason Mitchell.
okay. So you, yeah. So Jason Mitchell and it's another guy. You remember the three little boys, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Three little boys that are best friends.
Hmm.
Okay, so the one that was being raised by his brother, and now is being raised
Hmm.
by his other brother because his brother got killed.
No, I don't know.
Okay, so currently Luke James is on the show.
I've only seen the first two seasons. So.
Okay, so okay, the brother with or the friend with the dreads.
Yeah.
Remember, he was being raised by his brother.
Yeah.
That brother,
Hmm.
he he's in this movie too.
Oh, okay. I
So
don't remember
Jason
what that
Mitchell
brother
and
looks
that
like.
brother. Okay, so he's like
No, it's
tall.
fine. You don't have to. You don't have to like. Yeah, it's fine. I might recognize him when I see him. I just don't remember what he looks like in my head.
Okay, yeah, you'll definitely recognize him when you see him. Um, but yeah, so those two are in this movie. Um, so yeah, we have two options.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take a look at it. I'll let you know.
Okay, all right. So
A toss
it
up.
will be a toss up. Yeah,
Mhm.
on which one we do. So yeah, so tune in next week to see which movie we do.
Yes.
But yeah, everything is both is on Tubi. Welcome to Killer City. Welcome to the number two, Killer City is on YouTube. So we'll see next week. So watch them both so you can be informed on our discussion.
Or follow us on Twitter so you can see which one I'm live tweeting.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
So Maria, where can we find you?
You can find me online anywhere as Valar More Dollars. That's VALARMOR dollars. So Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. I'm there. Also, I'm on a podcast called Nerdgasm Noir, where it's five Black women talking about nerdy, geeky pop culture things. So come and join us there. We also have shows we have Smut Book Club, where my co-host Melissa talks to another co-host or a guest about some romance or smut they might be reading that week. So you can check that out too. We're also going to have some other shows that might be more tech based, and we're also planning on start doing like reviews and reactions sometime soon on YouTube. So stay tuned for that. Where can they find you, Lindsay?
Oh. All right, you can find me everywhere at L_Ranelle. That's L_RANELLE. And then I also have another podcast, The Ish We Talk, where it's me and my cousin talking about hot topics.
What did you talk about this week?
Yeah. We did not film this week because shout out to my cousin Lily. He just had a baby. He had a baby boy.
Oh,
So
congratulations.
yes. So yeah. So we took this week off, rightfully so.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well, then we'll join you next week, I
Yeah.
guess, or the week after, whenever he gets sleep.
Yeah. Right. Right. He says he's gonna be back, but we'll see. I just was like,
Yeah.
we'll play it by ear.
Yeah, for
So yeah.
sure. All right. Well, thank you for joining us,
Yeah.
Roomies.
So
Please come
that
back for our next episode. Subscribe. We also have a podcast version you subscribe to. Leave a review. Leave some comments if there's something you might like us to check out. Let us know, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
yes. My roomies.
Bye, Roomies.